bring yourself to your comfy sitting position in your chair. Remembering to just wiggle your bottom back and then ease your spine to your comfy upright sitting position. I need a block under my feet, so have anything under your feet to kind of compensate for the height of your chair. And just because it's in my mind about the workshop that I went to that was in San Francisco, when you're sitting and you've wiggled your bottom back and you've brought your spine to the upright, the back of your shoulder blade, sort of area of your back, is quite unlikely to be leaning against the chair. Our furniture often has a back to the chair that leans backwards, so you possibly don't feel anything against your upper back. Just take one of your hands and slide it into your lower back, and notice you do have a little bit of a curve in your lower back. So it doesn't go completely straight. If you then shuffle your bottom forward slightly, maybe half an inch away from the support of the lower part of the back of your chair, and then sit back into it. If I turn my chair slightly, you'll be able to see that more. So I'm not quite against the back, and then I tilt my pelvis because I'm just going to use the support of the back of the chair. Now take your hand in to your lower back and notice there isn't anything, there isn't a space. You can wedge your hand in there, but there's not a curve. So lean forwards again, wiggle your bottom towards the back of the chair and sit upright, and notice that you have got a little bit of that curve. It's not quite as much as when you're standing, but it's still there. Super. So your Egyptian pose, which is simply the yoga name for sitting in a chair. And then bring your hands, we're going to do a mudra. So your index finger, roll your index finger tip right into the base of your thumb, and then wrap your thumb around the front of that index finger so you hold it there, and bring the thumb to the first knuckle of your middle finger, and your other two fingers just are in roughly a sort of slightly separate, slightly not kind of lined up position. And it's exactly the same with your other hand. So you curl the index finger into the base of the thumb. You use the thumb just to hold that index finger there. You bring the tip of the thumb to somewhere that's comfy near the first knuckle on your middle finger. The other two fingers are just comfy and apart. And you're going to sit with your hands in your lap. And where they rest is entirely up to you. So it might feel more comfy to have them higher up on your thigh or a little bit further down. It's all about body proportions. So it simply doesn't matter as long as you feel comfy. And then have a couple of sighing out breaths. Those sort of sighing out breaths that maybe have quite a bit of noise with them as you come to that sitting position. You let your shoulders fall down away from your ears, and you arrive into your seat. So you allow that sense that the glute muscles and the underside of your thighs rest heavily into your chair. And then take your awareness to your breath. So if you've been dashing around this morning, breath might feel quite busy, quite high up. You might notice the top of the chest lifting and lowering with a fairly rapid breath. So let the breath slow a touch, take it down into the mid part of the lungs. And start to notice that with your in-breath you can allow the ribs to move sideways towards your upper arms. And that with an in-breath you can let the front of the chest lift and move forwards a touch and back down. And also with your in-breath you can feel some expansion across your upper back. And perhaps you stay breathing into the mid part of your lungs for 3 or 4 in and out breaths to really notice the movement of your ribs. And encourage the breath to slow. Encouraging the slow, soft, easy breathing. And then softening your abdominal muscles just a touch to allow the breath to come into the very bottom part of your lungs, like you breathe into your abdomen. Establishing your soft, easy, long, resting breath. And whatever your current resting breath is, add a count of 4. So breathe in for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4. No need to alter the breath at all, it's your resting breath. Simply adding a rhythmical metronome type count to your in-breath and to your out-breath. Breathing in for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4. Notice if the mind is distracted. That might be by anything in your body, perhaps different sounds in your house outside, thoughts, and simply noticing that the mind gets distracted and allow it to come back to focus on your breath. And adding your count, breathing in for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4. After your next out breath, releasing your count. And taking a moment to notice how your body feels. Noticing anything that feels tight and you want to ease it. Notice anything that feels sore or injured. Give yourself permission to move in the right way for you this morning. After your next out breath, releasing your mudra, give your fingers a wiggle, move into your wrist, gently opening your eyes. Have your arms dangling down by your side and taking an in breath and reaching the arms up. And having an out breath and bringing the arms down, matching the length of the breath with the length of the movement. Breathing in, taking the arms up. Breathing out, bringing the arms down. Noticing how the shoulders feel. Each in breath, take the arms up. And each out breath, bring the arms down. Begin to deepen it a little bit, so as you breathe in and take the arms out, reach. Keep reaching, reach up for the ceiling. As you breathe out, keep the arms reaching out to the sides. Breathing in, taking the arms up, and as you take them up and reach, take them away behind you slightly, and keep reaching the fingers away and up. So as you're breathing in and out, you've got a sense that you're deepening the movement into your shoulders by taking the arms away behind you as you lower them and lift them. And really reaching. With your next in breath, as you take the arms away behind you and reach and lift the front of the chest and the gaze a little bit to look up, and then breathe out, bring the gaze back to face forwards and take the arms away behind you and down. So we're just noticing the amount of length and control that we can get, strengthening but also creating flexibility in the shoulders. Lovely. Next time you breathe in and take the arms up, we're going to breathe out and sway. So a gentle sway to one side, breathe in, come back to centre, breathe out, sway to the other side, breathe in, come back to centre, keeping that going. And noticing there'll be one side that's tighter than the other, because your glute muscle will want to lift more from the chair. Think about anchoring it down and noticing that it's your spine that's side bending. Doesn't matter how far it goes, but we're encouraging strength with this work. Lovely. When you think you've done the same number to each side, and you breathe in and bring the arms up, bring your arms down. And when they come all the way down, roll them and notice just how incredibly heavy it is to hold your arms up in the air against gravity. Brilliant. Float your arms up. They're floppy, they're a little bit bent. Have your palms of your hands facing you. The palms of your hands are made of a mirror. Gaze into the right palm, turn the left palm away, and the left palm stays where it is. You breathe in, and as you breathe out, you move the right palm round to the right with your out breath, and then breathe in. Bring that arm back to centre. Swap your mirrors over. Breathe out, take the arm round to the left. Follow with your gaze into that mirror, gazing at the reflection of yourself. Breathe in, come back. Couple more to each side. So we get a gentle turning action into the spine to see how everything's feeling. Each time you breathe out, you're turning away from the midline and each time you breathe in, you're coming back. You're gazing at the palm of your hand as you breathe out and turn away from the midline. And you're returning back to centre with your in-breath. Next time you do the left side, making that your last one. Bringing your arms down, having a little roll of your shoulders. Super. So bring your hands onto your waist, sit yourself tall. Breathe in with an out breath, gently swaying to the right and staying there. So the hand that's on your waist, your right hand, let that be quite light, so we're not using the hand to carry the weight of the upper body. Breathing. Move your left shoulder back in space slightly, like you're turning your chest slightly to the left. Release your left hand, turn the palm away. Lift the arm up and reach for the ceiling. Turn your palm to face forwards and let your arm drop back in space. It's not a big movement. I'll turn sideways so that you can see. So when the arm's straight up, it's just falling back in space a little bit. Turn your chest slightly to the left. Let your arm fall back in space. Watch out for what's happening with the hand that's on your waist. Keep that lightness in the hand. Super. Turn your palm to face the side of your head and use your out breath to lower the arm that's up in the air towards your ear. Breathing. A little bit of reaching with the left arm over to the right. Super. Breathe. Turn the left palm to face the ceiling. And with your next in-breath, breathe in and push the ceiling up. And breathe out, bring the arm down. Hand back to the waist. You might have a little roll of your shoulders. Same thing to the other side. So a gentle side bend to the left. So wherever it feels okay for you to hold this without too much weight coming down into the hand that's on your waist. Your right shoulder, just rolling it back slightly, like you're turning the side of the chest ever so slightly to the right. Then you can release the right arm, dangles down by your side, turn the palm out, and breathe in, take the arm up, reach for the ceiling. Turn the palm to face forwards and let that arm fall back in space. Lightness in the hand that's on your waist, side bending, a little bit of turning in the chest, so the chest faces over to the right slightly, arm dangling back in space. And then turn the hand to face the side of the head and use your out breath to slowly lower the arm towards the head. Breathe, it only has to go to wherever feels okay for your shoulder, your neck, and your breathing, because there's a certain point, isn't there, where you begin to snatch your breath. Don't go beyond that, because we definitely want to be able to breathe well. Holding this there, lighten the load on the hand on the waist. Turn your right palm to face the ceiling. With your next in-breath, push up as you breathe in. And bring the arm down as you breathe out, hand back to your waist. Have a little bit of a roll of your shoulders and then let your arms dangle. Shuffle yourself to the front of your chair. Super. Arms are dangling down by your side, so rotate your arms out. The palms of your hands, not your arms out as in lifting them. So checking that the rotation comes from the shoulder as you turn the palms of the hands out. It's coming from here. You get a sense that your chest will come up and forwards a little bit. And And then move your arms away behind you, squeeze the backs of your hands together. Lift up your right kneecap and make some circles in the air with your right kneecap. That circling is as big or as small as your leg wants you to move. Just notice what's going on. Fantastic. Circle back the other way. Notice there might be a difference. So let the leg do its thing. Squeeze the backs of your hands together. Lift your arms slightly. And then hold the leg up. Squeeze the back of the hands together. Lift the arms slightly. And breathe. Brilliant. Let the arms dangle. Lift the knee a little bit more. Breathe. And then slowly as you can, lower that foot back down to the floor. Brilliant. So turn the palms of your hands out. Lift your arms up and away behind you. Squeeze the backs of the hands together. Find your breath at this point. And then lift the knee, left knee, and circle. Doesn't matter which direction, because when we've done 5 or 6 in one direction, we will then explore what it feels like to move the kneecap around in the other direction. Get into that rhythm. And then take your awareness to your hands again. Squeeze the backs of the hands together, lift them up a little bit. This feels a bit like trying to pat your head and circle your tummy, doesn't it? This is quite hard. Coordinating these different things. Fantastic. Hold the legs still. Let your arms flop. Lift your knee just a little bit more. Breathe. And then as slowly as you can, lower that foot back down to the floor. Try not to let the body crumple forwards. Keep it lifted up. Lovely. Slide your hands to the front of your thighs and take your knees a little bit wider. Have a cat move here. So cat move coming from the pelvis, tilting the pelvis. So as you breathe in, it's like you're sticking your little tail out and away behind you. The tummy button moves forward. You lift the chest and the gaze and breathe in. Then you tilt the pelvis like you're trying to tuck your little tail underneath you. The tummy button moves back towards the spine and you look down into your lap as you breathe out. So we're encouraging a forward bend and back bend in the spine. Super. After your next in-breath, bring yourself back up to sitting. So hug up with your right knee. Have a bit of a circle into your ankle. And circle back the other way. Releasing any of those popping sounds. And then point your toes away, then point your heel away. Point your toes away, point your heel away. Super. So, and let your foot be still. Many of you know what I'm talking about with a pendulum swing. So if you know that, by all means, head on into it. If you're not sure what I mean by a pendulum swing, what we're looking at doing is thinking of the knee all the way down and the whole of the foot as that sort of long pendulum on a sort of grandfather clock that swings, and keeping your thigh bone just hovering from the chair a little bit so your foot's free from the floor. And you're just letting the lower leg pendulum swing. And then you notice you get a little bit of this kind of gliding movement into the ball and socket joint. Brilliant. And then pop the foot back down. Let's go over to the left. Hug up that left knee towards you. How much you hug it up, entirely up to you and what's going on in that joint. If when you hug in front, because this is comfy for me, so I always go here. If pulling on the shin scrunches the knee, hold around the back of the thigh, it's absolutely fine. Circle into your ankle a few times in one direction, releasing anything that feels trapped, and back the other way. Lovely, and then point the toes, and then the heel, and then the toes, and then the heel. Super, a few more of those. And then we'll come to that pendulum swing. So you've got your leg hovering in space, roughly the thigh horizontal, but you need to have it lifted enough so the foot is free. And your lower leg is like a pendulum, swinging from side to side. So we end up kind of moving the thigh bone around, and it glides the ball in the socket at the top of the thigh. Brilliant. And then pop the foot to the floor. So over to the right side, just draw the knee up and see what it feels like to put the lower part of the right leg resting on the left thigh, somewhere near the knee. And ease, without pushing anything, just ease your right knee down towards the floor. So we get some external rotation into the right thigh and into the ball and socket joint. If this is quite tight, this is a great place to stay. Close your eyes and use your sighing out breath to encourage that knee to work towards moving a bit closer to the floor. And it'll happen, it'll feel like tiny, tiny movements. It doesn't have to be a big movement at all. Okay, and we don't want to shove it. We want to just work and let it ease down. If this feels okay and you want to deepen it a little bit more from here, I need to turn sideways to show you. So at the moment, the chances are we're leaning forwards a little bit, so our pelvis possibly is a bit vertical, it's possibly sloping backwards a touch. So we want to sit up as if we're just moving the tummy button forwards into that lovely upright sitting position, and then begin to lean forwards as if you're leading that action from your tummy button that wants to come towards your calf muscle. And you just go forwards a little bit, encouraging you to feel something that is a lengthening. And when I say lengthening, I try to avoid the word stretch, but a lengthening sensation, it might feel to you like stretching into the muscles that are all around the ball and socket joint area when we sit tall and have a gentle little lean forwards. This is where we want to feel a bit of a sensation. If you're not really feeling it there, just notice that your knee might have moved in to the midline, the leg that you're resting on. So sit up again and move that knee so that you're all lined up, sit tall and then ease forwards. For anybody who wants to deepen this any more, because it all feels okay, you can bring your right elbow to rest on your right knee and lean yourself a little bit further forwards. They're all tiny stages. You can do any of those stages regardless of what's going on in your ball and socket joint. Just don't shove. Use a lovely softening, easing, sighing out breath. Don't ask anything to move too far, too quickly. As long as what you're not feeling is any pain in your knee, it's absolutely fine. There's this sort of wonderful kind of lengthening, you might call it stretching sensation into the muscles around your ball and socket joint on the right. You might feel it a bit higher up to the back of the hip and slightly into the waist area. It's quite nice and freeing. And then begin to ease yourself back up. So we want to move the right leg, have a bit of a hug up with it. Just check your ankle feels okay, a bit of circling. Ease that leg. You might circle it around a few times in both directions and then pop the foot to the floor. So when ball and socket joints feel tight from sitting, because you can do this anywhere, it's one of those ones that feels quite nice, you know, when you can sit on any chair and ease yourself forward to do that. Okay, let's try the other side. So ease that leg up, just wiggle it around a little bit, and then rest the left leg. And you can see my leg move then, so my right leg wants to come to the midline to put my left leg over it. Need to move the right leg back so that it is lined up. And by lined up, what I'm meaning is it's not listing into the midline. And then take a moment here to let that knee ease towards the floor. And you can use leg muscles to encourage that knee to come down. If we just use leg muscles and no pushing, you can't damage that joint. Nothing can happen because your muscles will only move your leg within the range of movement that you have. So there's no damage that you can do, but you can use the strength of these thigh muscles to encourage that knee to turn out a little bit. Brilliant. Sit yourself tall. Notice the knee will probably want to lift up a little bit. Check everything's lined up. And it's your tummy button that moves in the direction of your calf muscle. Keep that sense that you've got your tail moving away behind you as you bring the tummy button forwards. The little tail is still working behind you. Your back is in that lovely line that it's in when you're sitting with all its natural curves. You're just leaning the spine forwards a little bit. So no pressure on that leg, lovely lengthening sensation into the glute muscles, all those little muscles that support the ball and socket joint. So know that from here it's absolutely fine to bring the left elbow onto the left knee and lean a little bit more if that's what your body wants. Tiny little movements. Use your sighing out breath to lower yourself down a touch. And then ease back up. Unravel that leg, if anything, a wiggle and a jiggle, and maybe you have a bit of a circling action, a couple of times in each direction. Great. So one of the things that will help your pelvis feel like it's easing and freeing up a little bit is also then to free up your back. So just because we can, pop the back of your hand at the top of your pelvis into your lower back kind of area. So wherever the hand is, my left arm's gone behind my back to the right side. So if I move my right leg around, then you should feel some muscles moving underneath that hand. Okay? So everything that helps support the leg comes up to here. So rest the leg and now move the arm around on that same side, and notice you feel muscles under the back of your hand as well. Okay? And then release. So just like a whole load of other mammals, particularly the ones that move about on four limbs, because we used to, our leg muscle system and our arm muscle system overlap kind of here. Okay, so we're completely interconnected. So if we want to free up anything that feels tight here, if we free up down the back, it begins to help the stuff that feels tight around the pelvis. So let's do that a little bit. I'm going to turn my chair so that you can see more easily. Sit towards the front of your chair. Lean forwards and put your right arm across your knee. So you've got your right hand resting on your left knee, right elbow resting on your right knee. Okay, top, the thigh area, but near your knee. Then put your left arm into your lower back. So chances are we're quite curved forwards. So think about lifting the chest and the gaze a touch, bringing your tummy button towards your thighs, and notice you can encourage the lower part of your spine to feel straighter rather than in a forward bend. So the spine is going to turn much more easily if we keep things a little bit straighter. So have an in-breath, and then with an out-breath, turn your chest and turn your shoulders a little bit to the left, and then come back to centre. Have an in-breath, and with an out-breath, turn your chest and your shoulders towards the left, like you want to look at the wall on the left, and then breathe in, come back to centre. Do that a couple more times. Use your out-breath to encourage the turning in your spine. So your chest and your shoulders and your gaze is looking to the left. And breathe in, come back to centre. Think about keeping that length in your spine. The lower back feeling like it's either straight or slightly in a back bend, but not in a forward bend. Super. Next time you turn, stay there, but obviously keep breathing. Encourage your left shoulder to continue to move away behind you. So you're encouraging your left shoulder to be stacked a little bit above your right shoulder. You can push your right elbow into that thigh, release your left arm behind your back and reach up to the ceiling with your left arm. Reach for the ceiling, and then reach the crown of your head forwards in whatever line your spine is in, so you keep your spine feeling spaced. Brilliant. And then bring your left hand onto your lower back, gently turn. As you turn back to centre, keep the crown of your head moving forwards to keep length in your spine, and then swap your arms. So left arm resting on the legs, left elbow near to the left knee, left hand near to the right knee. Brilliant. So same thing but the other way round. Right arm into the lower back. And notice we might have sagged forwards a little bit, so our chest is quite low. Think about lifting the chest. You're gazing at the floor, keeping the back of the neck long, but you're not gazing at the floor by your feet, it's in front of you. Notice then you can feel with your right hand into your lower back, and the lower back becomes quite straight, and you can feel your muscles working as well. So keeping that length, imagine the crown of the head moving forwards, then breathe in, and as you breathe out, a little bit of turning, so your chest and your shoulders turns to the right. Breathe in, come back to the centre, and breathe out and have a turn. A few of those, dynamic turning, crown of the head moving forwards, chest a little bit lifted, lower back feeling like it's got length in it, but it's a little bit straight. It's definitely not curving forwards. Bit of dynamic moving with your out breath to ease the spine around. Then next time you turn, holding it there, keep the breath going. Crown of the head moving forwards, a little bit of easing of the left elbow into the left thigh. Right shoulder comes a bit stacked above the left. Release the right arm from behind the back and reach for the ceiling. Reaching. Crown of the head moving forwards, arm reaching up to the ceiling. When you're ready to come out of this, you bring the arm onto the lower back and then turn yourself back to centre. But as you turn, keep the crown of the head moving forwards. Release the right arm from behind your back. Have both hands onto your knees. Use your hands to lift the body up. You've got your little tail still sticking out behind you. Breathe in and then breathe out. Tuck your tail, look down. Cat movement. Few of those. Very slow and controlled, so that we start to move the spine in its forward bend and its back bend after that twisting. Super. And after your next in-breath, sitting tall. So we'll do a little bit more turning with the spine. I'm just going to turn my chair sideways. Can I get you to grab something? And something can be a pen, it can be a cushion, it can be your strap, it can anything that you don't mind if it drops to the floor. So not a precious ornament, okay? But it can be anything. I'm just going to grab a pen. You're going to sit on your chair, side on, towards the front of the seat. Whatever that object is, you're going to pop it between your knees and squeeze it so you don't drop it. Okay? That's all you're going to do, is hold that there. So when you're squeezing the thighs, your pelvis and your thighs are staying pointing in the same direction the whole time. Once we're all there, you're going to have an in-breath, and then with an out-breath, turn slightly so you can hold the back of the chair. Doesn't matter which way you've gone, really doesn't matter which way you've gone. Use a few sighing out breaths to arrive here. Check your shoulders feel level. The shoulder that's gone behind you a little bit has a tendency to come up, so let everything settle. Lovely. Have an in-breath. And then use an out-breath to turn the chest and the shoulders slightly more towards the back of the chair. And next out-breath, turn slightly more towards the back of the chair. Notice you can do this with your arms. And you can do it in a way that's quite shoving and yanking and pulling, or you can do it in a way where the arms are helping fractionally, but most of that turning you can feel it in your spine rather than actually yanking with the arms. Brilliant. Let your shoulders settle down from your ears. Then turn your head in the opposite direction to where your knees are going. Breathe. Keep the body where it is, turn the head to look in the same direction as your knees. And with your next in-breath, release the hold on the back of the chair, ease yourself back to centre. And then we're going to have a go to the other side. You can simply turn around, or you can move your chair if you want to stay looking at the screen. I have to turn my chair, otherwise I can't see the screen at all. So sitting side onto your chair, towards the front of it, so you've got a little bit of space between you and the back of the chair if the chair allows for that. Don't worry too much if it doesn't. Something between your knees, that literally keeps your legs facing forwards as you turn your spine. So have an in-breath. And with an out-breath, turn a little bit to take hold of the back of the chair. It's a soft hold. Don't ask the body to turn too much just yet. Watch that back shoulder, the one that's now a little bit kind of feeling like it's gone behind you. Let it soften down, but let the crown of the head lengthen up. Breathe in, and then with an out breath, turning your shoulders and your chest towards the back of the chair. So each out breath, you've got a turning sensation in the spine. Whenever you breathe in, pause, because the body doesn't really want to breathe in and try to turn, because the turning action is a little bit squeezing of all the organs in the body as well around your abdomen. So it makes it more tricky to have a decent in-breath and try and turn. So once you feel like you've got yourself turned as much as your back wants to, then notice how much you're using the arms on the chair. It's absolutely fine to use them a little bit, but don't use them to yank your spine. Use them to just let the spine be guided as it softens with that out breath. Crown of the head still lengthening up to the ceiling. Try not to collapse in your lower back. Next out breath, turn your head in the opposite direction to the way that your legs are facing. Next in breath, turn your head only so that you look in the direction that your knees are facing. Body stays where it is. And next in breath, releasing the hold on the chair and letting the body ease back round to face forwards. Super. A little roll of your shoulders. Okay, so let's have a play about with our Warrior One legs again. So Warrior One legs, if you were doing Warrior One standing, a lot of you know Warrior One, some of you don't at all. So if you're standing in Warrior One, it kind of looks like this, and you take your arms up. So it's that kind of runner's stride sort of lunge, but obviously your knees not down. This is what Warrior One looks like from standing. Okay, so from the chair, you want to turn to face the side of the chair. So if we all turn to the right, then you've got your right leg resting on the chair. So you make sure you've got the whole of the back of the thigh. I need a block. This chair is too tall for me, so then I can have the whole of the sole of my foot resting on the floor. That block, it can be a book, anything at all that you can just use to lift the floor up a little bit. So hold on to the back of the chair. You want to have your left leg kind of next to your right leg, but it's hanging off the chair, as is your left buttock. And then let the knee come down to the floor, and you've got your toes tucked under behind you. And then move the heel away and back, so like you're rolling on your toes and trying to find the ball of your foot a little bit. And we notice we can get some length at the front of the left leg. And then move the toes away a little bit more behind you. And notice that you can roll towards being on the ball of that left foot. Now you can play about with where this leg goes. So this is a nice way to ease into the ball and socket joint as well. Brilliant. So once you've found a comfy place for that ball of the foot, the heel to be away behind you, we work towards the left leg becoming straight, but it doesn't have to be. Notice that then the left side of your pelvis might have lifted a bit and you've leaned towards the back of the chair to find space for this leg. That's absolutely fine. But let the pelvis settle so the left side comes down a little bit, like the knee and the shin are coming down towards the floor, and you feel like your pelvis has gone horizontal again. If you push your right foot and your left foot into the floor, notice how stable you can feel, and possibly that allows you to not need the chair to hold on to. So left arm comes up, maybe the right arm comes up. It doesn't have to. Keep pushing your feet into the floor. Think about moving your tummy button forward slightly. So we've got a little bit of a tilt in the pelvis. And then lifting the crown of the head up and lifting the front of the chest slightly, taking the gaze slightly higher up the wall, reaching the fingers up to the ceiling and breathe. Fantastic. Bring the right hand down to hold on to the chair, bring the left hand down and ease the left leg back. And we're going to go to the other side. So facing the other way, maybe you need to bring that book with you, that block to put your foot on. So this time it's the whole of your left leg sitting on that chair, almost right into the back of the knee. And the right leg isn't supported by the chair. We need to check that we're still facing the left side of the chair. Hold on to the back of the chair with your left hand and let the right knee just dangle down to the floor. You've got your toes tucked under. You're having a little feel about for where the foot's connected with the floor. So easing, just moving so that you can hopefully see better on the screen. You've got your toes tucked under and we're just feeling for where that foot wants to go. You lean towards the chair to make space, you hold on to the chair for safety and just easing that leg by pushing the heel away and simply noticing. And we find a comfy place, hopefully on the ball of the foot, which is a little bit easier and kinder into the toes. If you then tilt the right side of the pelvis down a touch towards the floor, you feel like your pelvis is horizontal, parallel to the seat of the chair. Push your feet into the floor. Make any adjustments that you need to feel safe here. The more you push your feet into the floor, the more perhaps it feels like everything is firm and it's okay to take the right arm up. And then perhaps it feels okay to take the left arm up. So pushing the heel away behind you, pushing the foot into the floor in front of you, a little bit of easing of the tummy button forwards to find comfort in the position of the pelvis. That's not an instruction to absolutely shove your tummy button forwards. It's just let it settle to wherever the pelvis wants to go without changing its kind of intuitive position. But lengthen up from the crown of the head. Lift the chest, the gaze looks up the wall slightly, the fingers reach for the ceiling, so you're not collapsing into your lower back, pushing your feet into the floor, lifting the fingers, lifting the crown of the head, breathing, super. Bring the left arm down, hold the chair, bring the right arm down, and gently bring that right leg back. And ease yourself around. You could do a couple of little cat moves. I'm just going to move my chair. I'm going to show you where we go next while you just watch, because it involves the same leg action but the body twisting. So a kind of impossible show and tell and watch and do because of just where you end up. So know that we're going to that exact spot that we've been to in Warrior One legs. Here, I'm facing you so you can see what happens to the body. And we've been here, so we know this is okay. We bring the hands down to the heart centre, but we keep that sense of lengthening up. And we turn towards the back of the chair. We lean forwards. We bring the outside edge of the arm to the outside edge of that bent leg, and we can turn. So hopefully you can see the top hand resting, and I can use this top hand. If I push this top hand into the bottom hand a little bit, can you see that my body will turn a touch more for me to look to that side? As soon as I stop pushing the hand, I turn back a bit. You can see that action. That's literally coming from this top hand pushing. You don't have to do that. It's a little play about. We come back, we come up, we hold, we ease out, we go to the other side. Okay? I don't mind which way you go first, because we're going to do both anyway. So ease yourself into your warrior one legs. Hold on to the back of the chair to make sure you're absolutely certain your legs are where you want them to be. So warrior one legs. You've got the back of one thigh and the corresponding glute muscle on the chair. The other leg goes away behind you. Toes tucked, find the ball of the foot, move the heel away. Have your pelvis level, because you're going to want to tilt towards the chair to find some space to get that leg away behind you. So bring yourself level with your pelvis. That means you need to tilt. It's absolutely fine to lean the body forwards a touch to get the pelvis tilted, to find the space to get that back leg away behind you. Then think about the crown of the head lifting as you lift the upper part of your back to gaze forwards and take the arms up. So it's a wonderfully controlled, considered way to get there safely. The whole time we're thinking of lengthening up, like somebody's holding your ribs and taking them up towards the ceiling. Keep that length, bring the palms of the hands together and down in front of the heart centre. Turn towards the back of your chair and then lean, a side leaning action to come to that front bent leg. Outside edge of that elbow to the outside edge of the leg and turning. And don't be worried about whether it's right or wrong. Feel the lovely turning in your spine. Don't worry about whether the back of that arm comes to the outside edge of the leg either. Enjoy it for a little bit. Come out of it whenever you're ready to. Turn your body to face forwards and then lift it back up. Hold on to the back of the chair as soon as you need to make sure you unravel your legs. Always fine to come back to the start place to have a little cat move. Okay, so anywhere where you want to be, just easing it back a little bit. And then let's go to the other side. So as long as you're on the other side, it doesn't matter which one it is. Again, we establish warrior one legs. Make sure you hold the chair, easing, lean forwards a little bit. Great way to get that leg away behind you. You've got the pelvis leaning forwards a touch. It's a bit more comfy in the lower back. You settle the pelvis horizontal. Push your feet into the floor. And then think about the crown of the head lengthening away. And then think about the upper back lifting. So it's creating more of a curve in the upper back. Arms come up, reach for the ceiling, pushing your feet into the floor. Somebody's got their hands hugged around your ribs and they're lifting them up. When you're ready to, and if you want to, bring your hands together down to the heart centre. Keep that sense of length. Turn towards the back of the chair and then lean forwards, taking the outside edge of that elbow to the outside edge of that leg. Keep lengthening the crown of the head forwards. You could push your top hand into the hand that's a bit lower down to have a lovely turn. Breathe. It gets really tempting to hold your breath. When you're ready to come out of this position, turn your body back to centre, lift your body back up a touch, hold onto the chair to then bring the leg round. Sit towards the front of your chair, hands onto the knees, cat. Super. And after a few of your cat moves, shuffle your bottom right the way back in your chair. Have something under your feet if you need them. Wiggle your bottom all the way back. Think about the crown of your head lengthening so that you come to your comfy sitting position. Arms dangling down by your side. Shoulders resting down from your ears. Next in-breath, float the arms up. They're soft and floppy. It's not a big reach. Breathe out. Bring the arms back down. Breathe in, take the arms up. Breathe out, bring the arms down. Breathe in, take the arms up. Bring the palms of the hands together. Breathe out. Lower the hands to the heart center. Close your eyes. Take your awareness to the connection of each of your fingers. So the thumbprint on each thumb touching, the fingerprint on your index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger. Notice your fingerprints and thumbprint touching. Notice the ball of your hand touching, the heel of each hand touching. Apply a tiny amount of pressure, just a little bit of pressure to all those contact points. Let your shoulders settle away from your ears, breathing. Softening your abdomen, letting the breath come to the very bottom part of your lungs. With your eyes closed, just lifting your hands to bring your fingers just a touch at the eyebrow center. Right thoughts, touch your fingertips to the mouth. Right words, bring your hands in front of the heart center. Right intentions. Namaste, everybody.